All right, guys. After much soldering, trials, and tribulation, I found that the actual problem was the connector itself seems to have, I guess, melted, burnt itself out. Anyway, I'm going to try it with a replacement and we'll see what happens. All right, guys. We're back again, round 3. We are going to attempt to install the clock spring assembly once again. So, just a reminder to bring everyone up to speed. I got everything hooked up. The heated seats work. Everything worked fine, except my high beams were not working. And I believe that the problem was the actual connector, the JST connector. One of the pins had actually either gotten melted, crushed, destroyed, all of the above. But anyway, I believe that I fixed it, so we're back here again, and we're gonna test this. We're gonna hook it up and test it out. All right, so first thing out is our big bolt. Then we want to unplug. Now for me, because I have my little JST connector, I need to unplug a couple things here just to safely pull it out without destroying it. Clock spring switch, clock spring connector rather. Okay. Then I want to pull out my JST connector. Okay, so now that that's out, I should be able to take my wheel off, just making sure that my airbag connector doesn't get stuck. All right, steering wheel off. Now, instead of taking my clock spring apart and out, honestly, I'm just going to leave it connected to the assembly, and I'm just going to take the assembly out. So remember, we have our 2 screws up here. It's easiest if you pull your steering column down. One, 2. 3. 4. Now remember, these screws, these bolts, nuts, they're the ones we're going to recycle. When you pull it out, you have to disconnect your wiper or multifunction switch plug. So now we have that out, so we're back to no steering wheel. Okay, so now I want to put my assembly in, but if you recall, my assembly, it needs to have those 2 washers. So let me grab those 2 washers. Put everything in a cup holder. All right, 1 washer. You guys may not run into this problem. Again, I'm not entirely sure why I did, but okay, 2nd washer. Oy, that was a test of patience. All right, so I'm going to start on the bottom in that back corner because that tends to be the one where you can see the least. So I'm gonna hold my washer and bolt in and slide this guy on, making sure not to, oh, I'm gonna tuck my multifunction switch connector down here because it's gonna plug in from the bottom. And then over here, I'm just gonna be very careful about sliding this in so that none of my wires get snagged or caught. And one of them, so this, I tried to organize all of this, and it looks like I already dropped my washer somewhere. All right, I tried to organize the wires in the back here. Evidently, this was a bad position to try to put that in because that's right where this, whatever it is, sits. So I am going to just adjust how this wire sits in here, and we'll see if that works a little bit better. My screws are lined up. All right, my plug is down here. All right, is all of my stuff lined up? Yeah. No. What is going on back here? Oh, that is not good. I think I snapped. Remember I told you guys I fixed the clock spring over here using my plastic welder? I think I just snapped it when I pushed on that and flexed it really hard. All right, well, it doesn't feel like anything is snagging, so I'm not going to mess with it, but I'm trying to figure out why this isn't going flush. Okay, that seems like it's as good as it's gonna get. So my washer is vanished without a trace, but I have plenty more. All right, that's one. It's two. 3 and 4. Now we're in the back. All right, what's going on here? Okay, that's in. Okay, so assembly is in. Now, rather than make the same mistake as last time and set all this up only to find out it doesn't work, we're going to test it out. So, I just need to make sure I keep track of what is what here. So this is my multifunction switch plug, which easy does not go into this one. It goes into this one. All right, that's my LEDs. Then I have my... This is where my box is going to go. This is my diode box for the windshield wipers. All right. And this is all for the clock spring. And last but not least, I'm going to take my power and I'm just going to test my high beams. See if the high beams work. Because that's what didn't work. What? What on earth? Why is my car honking? What the hell did I do? Oh, I plugged my clock spring into, oh geez. This is why they don't use the same connector in multiple places. I plugged my multifunction switch into my clock spring plug. My clock spring plug is back here. That can't happen if you have different connectors, and that's why they use different connectors. All right. Now let's try this one more time. That's really interesting though, that's what it was doing. So, now our high beams, when we turn the high beams on, when we push it out, remember on our normal multifunction switch in the S197, it would go out and it would stay out, and that's what keeps it on. This, it's going to return back to its normal position. So we want to make sure that it doesn't do that. So first, let's turn this off. Okay. Maybe we could do this and wipe. We'll do a quick wipe of the windows. Okay. Now, if I pull it towards me, I should get flash to pass, which I get. Now, if I push it away, I should get always on high beams. Okay, it clicked. Now I don't know if I could put high beams on when the car is not started. So let's actually start it. All right. Okay, so it's on. Now if I pull it toward me, I should get flash to pass, which I'm getting. Push it away, I should get always on. And I don't have always on. Mother of God. So when I pull it towards me, I'm only getting, you know what? Screw it. We're going to test this. Probably shouldn't do this while the car is on, but we're here for science and I guess engineering. Okay, when I pull the handle, my flash to pass clicks once and it just flashes. If I push it away, well, you know what? I'm not getting anything. So maybe that's because my sensor is not being detected. So let's see if I can cover that up and turn the internal lights on. Trick the car into thinking it's daytime. Okay. So now if I do my flash to pass, okay, now it stays on when I hold it, which is good. If I push it away, my high beams stay on. Okay, so you can't run them during the day. So now let's unplug this and let's pray that this one works the same. All right, if I pull it, it should stay on. Yes, that works. If I push it away, I should get it on and it should stay on. Yes, yes, high beams operational. We are good. We got it. Okay, so now we're gonna turn that off. Let's get the rest of this all set up and in. So what I will eventually have to do, I'm going to come back here later with zip ties and go a little bit crazy under here. Okay, so now we have a couple things. We have our I'm going to put this in later, and I'm going to see if I can pull you guys over here so we can look at what's actually going on. Let's get the wheel in. Okay, steering wheel should be straightforward. We're just gonna feed our airbags through. Okay, wheel is in. Let's screw this guy down. Oh, I do that every time. Eesh. Probably ruining the socket and ruin the steering wheel. Okay. All right, steering wheel's in. Now I want to get my connectors. First thing I'm going to do is my little JST connector here. Pretty much because it's always the hardest one for me to plug in. All right, that one's in. Now I'm going to plug in my normal clock spring connector. And unfortunately, guys, I don't have the airbag here, so I'm not going to be able to plug. Oh no, I unplugged the JST connector. That was not what I wanted. All right. Okay. That's in. Steering wheel is in and functional. So now that that's all set up, and as I said, I'm not going to be able to do my airbags right now, my airbag right now, because it's in the house. I want to take you guys down here to plug in the heating element, okay? So let's do that now. Okay, so we got a couple things going on over here that we need to manage, but we'll get through them one at a time. So first things first, this is our clock spring connector, so that's easy enough. We're going to plug that in. All right, that plugs right in. That's the one I made the mistake on before, so now we're going to tuck that up and in the back. Now what do we have? We have one of these here, which is hanging out, and we have a couple connectors. This one right here, one is for our thermistor, one is for our switch. So I need to I need to do a couple things here, right? First, I lengthened the cord for my heating element because I was finding that my box was just hanging in this zone here, which was not good. It wasn't going to work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and plug that in over here. And one day I will figure out how to get this to not fall around. All right, so I'm going to plug it into my box. So now this is the power that's going to go to my heating element. On the back here, I have my plugs. Remember, I go long to short, short to long. That was how I kept track of it. Okay, so now that's that. And now remember, I have 3 plugs here. I have 1, 2, and I have one up here. That was for the high beams. Now what I did was my always on power, which is my thicker gauge wire, that's easily going to go, and I know which one it is. It's this one. That's going to go here. That's going to be the always on power. That's going to go to the steering wheel. So I'm going to put that down. And then I have my ignition key on power. Now what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to split that between the heating element trigger and the high beam trigger, because they're not going to pull a lot of current. They're just essentially activating the relay. So plug one there, and I plug one in here, and now everything is wired up. Everything is wired up as it's designed. It's a little crazy, but let's go ahead and let's test this out, and then it'll just be a matter of cleaning everything up. So we're going to come over here. I can't turn it on, which is how I want it. I don't want any power to it. Now, what should happen is when I turn the ignition, my heating element module, we should see it light up red, because suddenly this blue box is going to get power. So let's do that. No power. No power. Man. What if I turn the actual car on? Hi. I just tested this 2 seconds ago. Why do I have no power? My high beams have power. My heating element does not. You can see there my ground came out. It's never easy. Never easy, guys. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, now that we fixed that plug, we're gonna try one more time here. So we're gonna plug in. This goes to the heat. Okay, now our switch. Thermistor. And now here we have always on power. And here we have our power for when the car is turned on. So once again, I'm going to lift you guys up and we're going to try this out. So I'm going to hold this up here. So again, we should see a red light by the blue when we turn the key. Oh, yep, there it is. Oh my goodness. All right, high beams work. Now let's try heat. So when we press the paddle switch, we should see this light up here. We don't, because I forgot to plug this in. Oh, this is not the first time I've done that. Okay. So now that's plugged in. Now let's try it again. We'll pull the paddle switch. We got red light. Okay, and if we look down here, we have a steering wheel with a thermistor that's currently at 16 degrees. And it appears to be counting up. 17. I just want to wait a minute. Oh yeah, I can feel it warming up. 100%. All right, well, I mean, listen, I'm going to have to cover everything up and get everything cleaned up. I may bring you guys back for one more quick video after everything has been cleaned up, but that's it. We have taken it all the way from a steering wheel that had absolutely no function whatsoever to one which now has the adjusted switches installed. Sorry, the multifunction switch, high beams. We have our wipers working. Okay. So wipers work. And we have our heated steering wheel working. Well, guys, listen, I really appreciate you sticking around as long as you have. I hope you learned something, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.